Hey, what's up you guys, Stoutmeister here, and today I'm going to be discussing the latest news story revolving around Joey Jordison, and helping me out here is my good buddy Dead Monkey of Mortified Productions, aka Stoutmeister's Whipping Boy.
Hey everyone, this is Dead Monkey of Mortified Productions, and thank you, Stoutmeister, for including me on another episode of Official Gatga.
Oh, you're welcome, you hairy slut.
Oh, Stouty boy, you know how to make my jangles.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it!
On a more serious note, Joey Jordison was recently at the Golden God Awards, in which he went on the stage and he gave a personal speech, and as he was giving a speech, he opened up more and more as to why he really left Slipknot, ending all the speculations that a lot of people had, as we learned that he had a form of multiple sclerosis called transverse myelitis, and I really hope I'm saying that correctly. Pretty much what's going on with this entire thing is that he's opening up about how this condition limited him from being able to do drums for Slipknot for a while, and just a lot of sad moments in general revolving around that.
Yeah, and it actually shocked me when I heard about this, because I made a video about Joey's departure a couple of years ago, under my Mortified Penguin 92 persona, and while I wouldn't consider it my best video, it was actually one of my older vlog videos back when I used to make vlogs or whatever. I was mostly speculating as to why Joey would have left, and I never would have suspected some kind of an illness. I mean, there was all this talk of drug abuse and altercations and all these assumptions, but, I mean, there was never really any clear answers. And I take this whole thing pretty personally because I've known people who have gone through multiple sclerosis, and I know people who still suffer from multiple sclerosis to this day. And it's a disease that I just would not wish on anyone. And seeing that this is happening to Joey Jordison, somebody who I've kind of looked up to since high school, it's sad. It's really sad.
As far as speculation coming from the fans, I don't think anyone can really blame them for wondering if this was a drug issue, or if Joey had a confrontation with one of the band members, or anything like that in general, considering how common those things are within the rock and metal world, considering how hush-hush everyone was about the situation. But nonetheless, I'm glad to see Joey Jordison finally opening up about his particular condition to raise awareness for it.
Yeah, and around the time when Joey left the band, I kinda wondered if maybe depression had something to do with it, and it was hard to tell whether or not maybe Joey was having such a tough time with everything. I mean, with all this speculation going on, depression could have easily had some kind of a play in it. Everyone deals with these kind of situations differently. I mean, my mother passed away, she had multiple sclerosis as well, and, I mean, in some ways I didn't handle it very well. I shut a lot of people out. I found it hard to be passionate about the things that I was doing, which includes filmmaking. And from that perspective, I can understand how it can feel, you know, to be completely drained after something like that happens. And looking back at everything with Joey's situation, things are starting to make sense now.
Indeed, dude. And I gotta give Slipknot credit for one thing. They did keep everyone on their toes as far as this whole thing had us speculating whether this was a drug issue or a spout with one of the band members and all that other stuff. But at the same time, I commend them for being able to handle all this privately and everything like that, and everyone's on good terms with one another, and everyone's just supporting one another, and yeah.
Yeah, and I'm more than glad to see that they're still on good terms with each other. But at the same time, it honestly just breaks my heart to see that he had to go through this, because, I mean, to be cut down by a disease like multiple sclerosis or transverse myelitis or any kind of neurological disease like that, I mean, especially when it prevents you from doing what you love. You know, if it prevents you from doing what you love, what you're passionate about. And clearly Joey is passionate about music, you know? It's disheartening, but at the same time, with his situation, with the way he was able to recover in the time span that he has, it's fantastic. And, you know, I hope that the disease that he has doesn't advance too terribly. Because, I mean, I've witnessed firsthand how a disease like multiple sclerosis can affect somebody, both mentally and physically. It's not a good disease. I can't even describe it.
Dude, that's just terrible. No one should have to go through any serious illnesses to the point where they can't even do basic things in their life, whether it's getting out of bed in the morning to going to the kitchen, bathroom, driving, or doing anything in life that any other person would be able to do no problem at all. One of the main reasons I'm doing this particular video right here is because I have my fair share of experiences seeing people go through similar conditions such as this, and the one that I want to talk about right now, this is something that I briefly brought up in my transabled woman video where I ranted on this woman that wanted to blind herself because she wanted to live her life as a blind person. She went from pretending to be blind to becoming blind to live out her dream, in which you can see a lot of anger in that video because I have a lot of personal connections to people that actually have disabilities. My mother and I, for well over a year, almost 2 years, have been helping take care of a former lieutenant colonel that developed Parkinson's disease way over time. Prior to us coming in to help him, there have been people that have been using him for his disability money, as well as money that he got from his services in general and continues to get to this day. And one of those people that was helping him out, not to get too personal, this individual right here was committing fraud. I don't want to go into details too much about what was going on, but we helped him out a good chunk with that as well. We've been very supportive of one another as far as that goes. And another personal thing I've gone through, which my old subscribers know about this, I dated someone for over a year, and this person has a daughter who is 6 now, and she was almost 3 when I first met her, where she had brain cancer and all sorts of other issues, whether we're talking about speech or motor skills and all that other stuff. So I know all sorts of things about people going through all sorts of disabilities and all that other stuff and not being able to do what they want, and it's just sad. It's just sad how some of these people are just either born in these situations or they develop it over time, however they do that. It's just something I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen my mother, her mobility has gotten worse every year. I mean, before she passed away, I noticed that the way that she would walk would be different. She would drag her feet. She was in a walker for about, I'd say, maybe 5, 6, 7 years or so. And her mobility has gotten worse every year by the year, pretty much. And besides living conditions and stuff like that that were beyond our control, that didn't really help her, and many other factors, I mean, it affected the way that she thought, it affected the way that she talked, it affected so many things. I mean, it affected her eyesight. Multiple sclerosis, I've said this before, I would never wish this on anyone. My mother suffered this for 22 years of her life, and I was 21 when she passed away. And, you know, this disease, I hope that Joey can continue to fight this, because it's one of the worst fucking diseases that I think anyone can have.
For sure. And as far as Patrick goes, the guy that we help take care of, I noticed this about people like him as well as other people. When you can't pursue what you want, you are going to be very stubborn, especially if you're not going to be able to walk or anything like that. We always have to remind Patrick not to walk upstairs or not walk without his walker the majority of the day, because he could risk falling, and you just gotta really monitor these people to make sure that they don't get themselves in too bad of situations. Yes, you want them to be able to have some sort of motor skills to try to help their strengthen their legs as best they can, but I've seen my fair share of moments where Patrick was struggling to walk 3 meters, or if he needed to go from his chair to the kitchen to get something, he just wobbles everywhere, and you always have to remind him not to strain himself too much. It's just one of those things where you gotta be really careful. Yes, at the same time, you should have them help build their strength in their legs. When you are in that situation where you can't walk or do basic things, let alone pursue your dreams, it gets very horrible.
Yeah, you know, my mom was always in mother mode. she always tried to clean things, you know, and that would require for her to either try and get on her hands and knees, you know, when it comes to, like, trying to scrub the toilet or anything like that. And there have been times where she's done that and she wasn't able to get up without somebody helping her. And we would constantly tell her to not do that because it wouldn't be good for her joints, it wouldn't be good for anything, it would cause more problems with her. And I mean, we took care of her the best that we could, you know, and she was a tough person. Anyone who has multiple sclerosis or any neurological disease that has to put up with this on a regular basis, who has difficulty performing basic tasks like this, these people are fucking strong. And I know for a fact that my mother was strong as fuck. She was the strongest woman that I knew. And you know, I really appreciate that we can talk about this and be open about it, because for all we know, there are some subscribers on your channel that may know some people with these kind of diseases, that may have family members that suffer a neurological disease like multiple sclerosis, you know? And honestly, I think if more people knew about these diseases, then if more people were aware of these diseases, then maybe we can know how to help those that have these diseases better.
Absolutely. In our particular cases, we've done all we could to help out those that are in our personal lives, and as far as this particular disease, it's diseases like this, or glioblastoma, which Abigail had, and all these other diseases that aren't really well known, that really do need the most awareness, so that more people can be brought to attention with this entire thing and see what we can do to help those that have those conditions, as well as just understanding conditions that people go through in general.
The fact is, these kind of diseases are part of the human experience. And while there may not be any cures for these diseases, the more that we talk about them and share our experiences, the closer we can get to possibly find cures for these diseases. Besides extensive research, of course.
Absolutely. And I believe this is pretty much all we have to say for this particular portion of the video. And to kind of end things on a lighter note, I kind of want to open up about how I got into Slipknot's music right here, as well as Dead Monkey doing the same thing, considering that Slipknot was one of those bands that actually introduced us into heavier music, pretty much like a lot of kids from the 90s and 2000s that got into heavier music in general. I remember actually being a kid, being in middle school, just skateboarding at my friend's place in his garage where there was a lot of room to skate. And he and his cousins would make all these mix CDs with rap music, like not Lil Wayne type shit, but like old school rap music, in which a lot of the songs came from like Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games to rock to metal. And I remember listening to Wait and Bleed, which is the very first song I heard from Slipknot, and I just remember being blown away by Corey's vocals and the instrumentation. One of those things being Joey Jordison's drumming, which at the time just blew me away and helped me venture into heavier, more progressive type of music. And just to see someone go through that and then overcome it the best they can, you gotta give the guy respect. I know that Joey Jordison gets a lot of shit for being a generic drummer or overrated. The dude's a sick fucking drummer. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if you hate Slipknot or anything like that. You gotta give the guy respect for paving the way for people to get into heavier music.
Man, you know, it's crazy how I got into Slipknot, because, I mean, back in the day I wasn't really big into, like, the Tony Hawk series or anything like that, but I used to play Guitar Hero very frequently, and when it came to Guitar Hero 3, when I first heard Before I Forget, I was completely hooked on the band. I mean, it wasn't just Corey's vocals that blew me away or the guitar melodies, but, like, that percussive drum sound that they have that really just hooked into me. And part of that was Joey's incredible fucking drumming. And I continued to get more into them throughout my high school years, Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses, was like one of my favorite albums back then, along with All Hope Is Gone. I don't give a shit at what anyone has to say about All Hope Is Gone. That was a great fucking album. If it wasn't for Slipknot, I definitely wouldn't have gotten to a lot of the bands that I've grown up with, and including some of the bands that I listen to today.
Exactly, dude. And shit on bands like Korn and Godsmack, Slipknot, and all those other bands all you want. If it wasn't for those types of bands, they wouldn't have influenced bands such as Periphery or Animals as Leaders or any of the other bands that are on the scene now. And just seeing bands actually pave the way for more musicians to come and create something unique out of those influences, it's just amazing.
And even though I can't really see how Animals as Leaders would be influenced by Korn, I totally get what you mean, dude.
I mean, Tosin Abasi is influenced by a good range of music. I remember him saying that he was influenced by Nirvana, Radiohead. He was very much into the 90s side of things and the early 2000s side of things as well, so maybe he wasn't influenced by Slipknot specifically, but he was definitely influenced by a wide variety of musicians from the 90s and early 2000s, and in this particular case, musicians that would be considered overrated or generic or whatever you want to call them. Hell, Angel Vivaldi, for example, the guitarist that got him into playing guitar, one of them being Kurt Cobain. And again, say what you want about those musicians, they have helped pave the way for other musicians to do what they do today.
Exactly. I mean, it's amazing the kind of influences that some of our favorite artists nowadays can garner from the past, you know?
And it's even more influential when you see your favorite artists doing what they love despite the conditions that they're fighting, whether it be Joey Jordison or Jason Becker, where Jason Becker creates music with his mouth. Like, literally, there's a computer mouse designed for his mouth and tongue where he arranges music with tablature.
Holy crap, that's incredible.
It's amazing what you can do and what the human drive can do when you don't want to let something like multiple sclerosis or any other disease hold you back.
Exactly. And you know, with this recent news coming out with Joey Jordison overcoming this disease and coping with it, it further solidifies him as one of my biggest inspirations.
Absolutely. I think that's all we have for this video, you guys, and if you want to share some of your experiences that you've gone through in your personal life, feel free to let us know in the comment section below. Feel free to open up about how you got into Slipknot, and just comment away in general. Stay tuned for more videos, take care, see you later, and if you'll excuse me, time to get back to the whipping.
Oh, damn it, that just made my anus clench.
You think you have it bad? Just wait until we get to Atticus with the Bible.
Oh my, maybe we should get Marilyn Manson in on this action.
I'll buy you.
But anyways, this is Dead Monkey at Mortified Productions signing out. You want to check me out? Check out the link in the description. Herp de derp, we're gonna go and buttfuck Atticus with a Bible now. Take it easy and have a good one.
So you like Serbian women, don't you, Blondie? Well, I got your Serbian woman right here.